Hello and welcome to the O Show. Once again, we're outdoors and you know where we are at Oman Automobile Association. It's a first step for many who have become drivers of international level. But today we are meeting an international driver himself, all from here, Sultanate of Oman. Let's meet our guest and welcome to the O Show, Ahmad Al Harthy.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's good to be back. A lot of memories from the Oman Automobile Association. I think remembering the first time I ever set foot at this club brings back exciting and memories that will always be with me for sure.
He's a racer today, but of course, like you said, you were about 7 to 8 years old when you started go-karting here.
Yeah, I remember when my brother brought me here for the first time. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and it was the first time I ever got introduced to karting, and that's a type of motorsport, and a very essential part of motorsport for you to continue climbing the ladder of motorsports. But the club was slightly different, slightly smaller, but I learned so much here, and it was vital for me to be able to continue with this education and with this foundation.
Well, it's amazing because on the other side you have the drift, and like Ahmed, you said, the Oman Automobile Association has grown in such a big way. They've done a wonderful job. Congratulations to the team. And you are a busy racer right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as you know, when we were here, there was a motocross section, there was a rallying section as well, but now the club has expanded after its relaunch, and obviously the karting track itself has grown. I was here the other week actually, and I was really happy to see that there was a lot more young karters coming through, and it's very important for our sport and for people to understand the different types of, the motorsport umbrella is huge. There's circuit racing, which is similar to what I do, which falls under the F1, GT3, also different types of sprint races as well. But there's also the drift, there's also the rallycross, there's also different forms of motorsport. And for me, I was really proud to be the first Omani circuit racer coming out of Oman and participating both in the United Kingdom as well as Europe as well at the moment.
Last year was big for you.
Yeah, 2017 was really big for me because at the beginning of 2017 we were celebrating 10 years of racing, and for me to have won the Blancpain Endurance Championship in the Pro-Am category, considered by a lot of people as the most competitive and challenging GT3 championship out there, with Oman Racing, with myself winning the championship and my teammate Johnny Adam, it was something special, and it is something that will always look back and motivate us for the future.
There's so much to learn from Ahmad Al Harthy. He spells Ahmed with an A at
That's
the end.
correct.
So let's actually take a walk and go to another wonderful place where usually we don't get a chance, but with Ahmed with us, we might. Shall we?
Yeah, we can just head to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the start was usually the same. That corner remains the same. The lock at the bottom of the truck is made.
Okay, and these new buildings probably.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I mean this is a
Those things is Ahmad Al Harthy and Sheikh Nizar Al Shamri. And so we're actually with Muscat's hero racer, I would say, because you are the person, when you look at motor history, who've actually taken it to the racing level.
Yeah, it's been, as I said, it's been now maybe about just under 12 years. So I'm really proud to have been able to continue my relationship in motorsports for all these years. I started semi-professional in 2006 when we competed in Bahrain, and then I went on and did 3 years of racing in Formula Renault in the BARC Championship. I left the championship in 2009, being vice champion. Then I decided to join the Porsche Carrera Cup Great Britain Championship, which was one of the most competitive championships I've been involved in at that time, and leaving it in 2012 as the Pro-Am champion. which was something new for the region, which was something new for myself, and I'm extremely proud to have been able to get amazing wins. But also I competed in a few F1 support events in Abu Dhabi and Yas circuit, and winning that had always, at that time, was one of the greatest achievements, it being so close to Oman. But then obviously in 2013 we decided to switch to longer races, endurance championships, and mainly in the Blancpain Endurance Championship, and this is where we won the championship in 2017, being the first Arab, the first Omani, at the same time the first Omani team to win both team championship and driver championship. So these all combined together was a huge opportunity, and also me racing with Aston Martin is something very exciting, and you know there's so much developments have happened, plus the activations that we were able to bring to Oman as well during the F1 trial with the Red Bull, and they came and did a demonstration in Oman. I was very proud and privileged in Matrah to be able to drive the Aston Martin Vulcan, which was at that time only 24 pieces ever made. Was a great opportunity for me to interact with the local crowd and you know, get a lot of that motivation from them. Was something very exciting to be a part of. But having said that, you know, we race in different races in Europe, and we always had a strong support and a strong following, which is always great. And now with social media, you're able to really give a lot more than when we first started, and for people to see what happens behind the scenes and how difficult an actual race is. And for you to achieve a podium finish, you've had to have so much go right and perfectly well organized to achieve that. So at least, you know, it's a chance for us to give back and educate the public, educate the media, educate the future drivers of what is to come and the challenges that they're going to face.
Well, you know, when we think of Ahmed, we always think about him with the helmet and the race uniform. So here he is. But when you actually thought about it, you know, what did your parents say?
It was always very, the first challenge...
What did they want you to be? Did they ever tell you?
No, well, I started as finance and accounting, and I actually worked in Oman as an external auditor. So that was the early stages of me going into semi-professional racing at that time.
Right.
But it was obviously very difficult, but I'm very proud to say that both my parents fully support my racing project. And I think without their support, I wouldn't be here today. That's 100%. I know that as a fact, but to have their blessing on top of it has always been a huge support for me. Plus the fact that, you know, if anyone was doing something for the first time, and especially, for example, in Oman, you would always have these barriers and challenges. And I think some of the things that has motivated me in the past is to try and convert this into positivity. And I think, you know, traveling thousands of kilometers just to go for a race has always been so much for me. It motivates me the right way. Some would think that it's a negative thing, but actually I try and make it into a positive.
Why would they think?
Not having a racetrack in Oman. Someone would say that, oh, look at this driver, he's coming from a country without a racetrack.
Would you like to see a
That's
racetrack?
a negativity.
Yes.
But I try and turn that into positivity. Coming back to having a racetrack in Oman, we have this amazing facility over here. This is going to bring us more and more drivers. Currently I can count them 1, 2, or 3 at the moment that we can talk about. I'd love that number to be 30, 40 before you even think of having a racetrack in Oman, because in the end of the day, who's going to go into this racetrack? Is it something we build just to say that we've built a racetrack? No, we need to have something that actually makes sense. And when this program is running correctly and properly and producing these drivers, which we're seeing at the moment gently coming through, then hopefully one day we can have a track in Oman that can host something similar to what I race in. We're not talking about F1, we're talking about all the other championships that people know that it's out there, and can be very exciting for the country to host as well, and it will complement the region in what they already have. Whenever you're ready.
So we're going to take off and we're going to find out more from you, Ahmed, when we actually talk about safety.
Yeah, it's always important for everyone to know about how driving on the roads are completely different to driving on a racetrack. And I was a 17-year-old at one time of my life, and obviously, I had to. I was in situations where I've driven fast on the roads and so on and so forth. But after racing and after being involved in motorsports, it's allowed me to really look at it in a different way, and also to understand the dangers more than usual in terms of prior to racing.
Right.
I know my limits, I know my capabilities, and there's no point trying to prove it to anyone on a road, which is completely different.
That's a very important message.
Yeah, because in a racetrack we are in a controlled environment. Controlled meaning we are monitored all the time, we've got all the safety, we've got at the same time we've got...
And the precautions.
But more importantly, we are surrounded with professional racing drivers as well. And on the road, you could be having someone talking on his phone, you could be someone not wearing his seatbelt.
And not in the same mental...
Sure, your capabilities can be completely different from someone next to you.
Yes.
And that's what we've been trying to, show through our racing program. Stuff like, simple stuff like wearing the seatbelt, which you can see me currently
You have
wearing.
a racing program?
Racing, no.
Oh, awareness.
The racing awareness.
Okay.
Yeah. So wearing something like your seatbelt, when I'm driving just within half an hour, I can witness at least 50% of the drivers not wearing their seatbelts.
Right.
And if the driver's not wearing it, if the driver's wearing it, the passenger might not be wearing it. And, for the rear seats, that's a complete another story.
Although now the new law says everybody should be wearing seatbelts. Maybe it's taking its time to digest in for everybody. And then baby seats, children's seats are very important according to you.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to see that it's now a law that you are required to have a child seat for children. Now it's about... and it's more about not being a law or not a law. It's more about educating the parents, the importance of having it. I'm sure that we all love our kids, and the ones that are jumping on the middle seats and not wearing seatbelts. Yeah. I'm sure the parents care about them. But do they really realize what is going through the whole process when you don't have a child seat? And also when you have a child seat, you have to make sure you have the right child seat and the child seat is kept correctly. So this educational program is really something that I'd love to be involved more and more, and I've been gradually getting into it as well. But this is something that I hope in the next year or two that you'll see us not just slogans on the streets, but actually educational programs surrounding that philosophy.
Well, I think maybe when we asked you whether you have a racing program, maybe it's something that's going to happen in the future, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And one more question, of course, you touched upon it a little bit. One of our biggest problems on the roads today is texting. Not even speaking on the phone, but texting.
Yeah, having a phone in the car and obviously either texting or using it is something that while driving, I can tell you the person in front of me is definitely on the phone. Because
how?
Because he's swerving between lane and lane.
Yes.
The car then becomes a weapon.
Yeah.
Which is very dangerous for everybody.
Yeah.
And for sure, if you look at the statistics, your ability to control the car reduces dramatically when you're behind the phone or talking on the phone or texting on the phone as well.
Because the mind is busy.
The mind is busy and your eyes, obviously, it could be 1 second where you could avoid something from happening and at that time your mind is somewhere else. So, yeah.
Well, I hope you have been enjoying this ride with Ahmad Al Harthy. Ahmad, you're heading towards a very important destination for you.
Yeah, we're on Friday we start testing in Barcelona, which is our 5th round of the championship, and we're really looking forward to it and ending the season in Europe in a high. And I think we're going to have a good support and a good crowd with us. And it's going to be a 3-hour race, so we hope please do follow us. We're up on social media. We're up on all the different websites. If you can watch the races live for sure.
At Ahmad Al Harthy, and Ahmed is with another A just before the D.
Exactly.
And not an E. So with that, we wish you all the best, and yes, we'll be there following
Thank you. Very much. Thank you.
Thank you. With the whole team, I'm Lakshmi Karthanath, thanking you for joining us on the O Show.